do we get the peel off of this pumpkin, right? Very easy. You take your Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I thought I'd do, it's been a while since I've done a cooking video, and this is going to be a very brief one. I'm making chicken biryani. This is not a video on how to make chicken biryani. I'm making a side dish that goes with things like that, curry and that sort of stuff, called dal, which I guess technically is a lentil dish, lentils with onions and turmeric and some other spices and stuff like that. Very nice sort of starchy dish. But I'm not using lentils to make dal. I'm going to use squash. Why am I using squash to make dal, you might say? Because everybody knows dal is a lentil dish. Because this is a good way for my kids like dal. And if I use squash instead of lentils to make dal, they'll eat it. And I got a lot of squash. The purpose of this video is to show people how to carve up a Warted Hubbard squash, because I grew Warted Hubbard this year, and lots of people commented in various videos that I made when I mentioned this and showed it in my garden tours. Oh, they're impossible to carve. So I thought, well, I don't think they're that hard to carve. Maybe it's because of the way I'm carving them, or maybe the type of knife I'm using. So I'm going to do a short video on how to do it. I'm going to bring a camera in a little bit and show you how to carve one of these babies up. So have a watch. Alright, so the most important thing, to me anyway, other than just using a knife as often as possible and getting comfortable using knives, is to get a knife with a profile like this one. It's got a particular kind of grind that is different than most knives. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. These knives are traditional chef's knives. What would you call it? 8-inch chef's knife, right? And they got a particular kind of grind. This knife, it's not about how much depth the knife has, but it's how the actual edge is made on the knife. So let me draw a picture to show you. All right, so most chef's knives have this profile, where the blade goes down, and then right near the bottom, maybe a 1/4 inch from the bottom, it's tapered into a point. That's the kind of grind one of these has. This knife, the grind is such that the taper starts at the top and just gradually continues down to the bottom. Right? So it's a continuous taper. Sorry, I'm doing this backwards in a mirror sort of thing. But it's a continuous taper from top to bottom. When you've got that continuous taper on a grind on a knife edge, it makes it ridiculously easy to carve things like pumpkins, just because of the way this type of grind finds its way through various kinds of materials. Hope that made sense. So here we got a Warted Hubbard, and this is not as dark green and not quite as heavily warted as the other ones I have in my garden, and I think it's because it matured late. So I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to keep well, so I might as well use it up now that it's just October. So I'm going to use a proper knife. Cut off the top, cut off the bottom, and cut her from stem to stern, right? Give it a bit of a start. You just rock the knife through. Find your hole. And just sort of pop it open like that. Right? Once you've done that, you do the same thing lengthwise. It just makes it easy to scoop all your stuff out. I'm trying not to cut your hands while you're doing all that. Okay, so now I've got 3/4. Now I'm just going to scoop the stuff out of the pumpkin. You get the idea, right? I'm going to do this really quick because my wife and kids are out of the house right now, and I got a quiet enough house to shoot a video like this. So I got to be fast because they'll be in any minute now, and the house will be noisy, and I can't film when that's the case. And that's why I love doing cooking videos, but the reason I can't do them is I can only do them on my day off. And things just have to work out right. I gotta have an empty house to do these. They're all outside right now for like 15 minutes, so I gotta do this fast. All right, so I've scooped all the guts out of this one's gonna leave in there. All right. All right, so that's done. Scooped out. Now, how do we get the peel off of this pumpkin, right? Very easy. So you take your piece like this, you cut it in half. Now you got something that'll stand up on its own. See how it's standing? It's very easy to work with, and you just sort of carve off, you know, moving your blade back and forth like a saw. It just cuts easier if you do that. Making sure to keep your fingers out of the way, and sort of, you know, as you're cutting down it, you're adjusting the angle of the knife, right? Moving the green part. That's the idea, right? You're just working your way down the length of the squash, taking advantage of its tendency to stand up while you're doing that. And you're going to have the odd you know, part of the pumpkin that just doesn't want to cooperate. But for the most part, especially once you get good at it, it gets very easy to do. All right, like so. And yes, you're throwing away some of the good stuff, and I'm sure you can even eat the peel. But if you're making this dish for my kids, it better be orange when you're done. You got kids, you know, that they don't really care so much about the flavor. The flavor matters if the flavor's bad, but the appearance of it really matters with kids. So you got to get rid of all that green stuff, or they'll just think it's some sort of snot dish or something, and it'll be game over. So anyway, that's the general idea. Right? Once you get going, it's fairly easy, but the most important thing is to have the knife that has that nice, narrow, sort of thin profiled blade. And I'm not trying to push this knife at all. I'm not even going to mention the brand because I'm not getting any money from anyone, but you basically want a very thin blade with that sort of grind, the way I described it. Sort of almost like a continuous triangle from top to bottom. If you have that configuration to your blade grind, you'll find that it just goes through things with very little. You don't have to push hard, right? Because when you're pushing hard with a blade, that's when danger happens. That's when the danger happens. So you want it to be. You know, I find this. I have never had this blade sharpened since I bought it. All I've ever done is any time I'm about to use this knife, I just give it 1, 2, 3, a quick hone like that on a sharpening steel. And I bought this blade in like 2006, so I've had it quite some time, and it's sharp. Here, there's the paper I drew that diagram on. Sharp, right? It's been like that since I bought it, and it's a carbon steel blade. It's not stainless steel. So I mean, if you're looking for a good knife blade, in my opinion, I mean, stainless steel has great properties, but a carbon steel blade, this knife probably, you could buy one of these for maybe $40, right? It's not an expensive knife. And I've been at people's houses that have those expensive German knives, ankles and so on. This outperforms them. The only thing I wish this knife had was the dimensions of this knife. But if I could have these dimensions with the actual grind of this knife, I'd have one heck of a knife. I'd throw away everything else. Anyway, Warted Hubbard, carved easily in a matter of minutes with the proper knife and the proper technique. It's not hard to do at all, regardless of what you're going to use it for. I thought I'd just do a quick video about that because I had so many comments about the Warted Hubbard, how hard it was to peel it and process it and that sort of thing. It's not hard. You just got to have the right knife and the right technique. Hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardener.com. Check out all my videos. Click the bell if you want to be notified when I make a new video. And until next time, get out there, get at it. Have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.